My friends, welcome to episode 16 of Vibe with Venerables. 1 hour of live Dharma and dialogue where you get to talk directly to a respected Venerable. I'm Ming, co-founder of Buddhism-dot-net and your host. Today, we are delighted to have our friend back on our show, Venerable Gyatso. Venerable Gyatso practiced in Dharma College in Berkeley and the Saranath International Nyingma Institute in Saranath. He also did a Vipassana retreat in Lumbini, which he found deeply transformative. And in 2021, he arrived at Sarvasti Abbey. And in 2023, he ordained and became Venerable Thubten Gyatso. In the past 2 weeks, we heard from Venerables Choni and Chodron on the transformative power of compassion. Today, Venerable Gyatso will close our series on compassion with a talk on self-compassion. Venerable Gyatso is himself a very compassionate person, and I know that because I keep making jokes about him, and he keeps forgiving me. So, somehow, thank you.
You're easy to forgive.
Oh, this face.
Yeah, yeah.
So Venerable will speak for roughly 30 minutes and then answer your questions live. And as a reminder, this session will be recorded and uploaded onto YouTube later. If you are comfortable doing so, we'd like to invite you to turn your camera on so that Venerable can see your lovely faces on the screen in front of him. And with that, dear Venerable, can you lead us with a prayer and a short meditation?
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Ming. All right, let's begin by just settling our body and mind. Get in a good posture, especially with your back straight, so you don't get sleepy. And we're going to start by just watching our breath, settling our mind, bringing our mind into the present moment. So you can put all of your focus on your breath at the nostrils, the inhalation and exhalation, or you could watch the rise and fall at your chest. Whenever your mind wanders to the past or the future, just bring it right back kindly and gently to your object of focus. We'll do this for a little bit. So now, with this calmer, more focused mind, imagine what it would feel like to actually have unlimited, boundless compassion, love, equanimity, joy, wisdom. Get a sense of what that would really feel like. Now imagine that all of these incredible qualities that you aspire to attain are now in the form of Buddha Shakyamuni in the space in front. He's wearing the robes of a monastic, beautiful golden body made of light, holding an alms bowl in his left hand, with this incredible, compassionate gaze on his face, looking on you and all sentient beings simultaneously with immeasurable, boundless love, compassion, understanding. And seeing the Buddha as the embodiment of the three jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and recognizing them as worthy objects of refuge. We can begin by going for refuge to the three jewels, and the words will be in the chat box. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. And we'll move on to the four immeasurables. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. And take a moment just to soak this feeling up. Before we engage in any activity, it's a really good idea to set our motivation. So I'll do that now. We've all made a really good decision to come to this talk, to listen about self-compassion, how to benefit ourselves and others at the same time in order to develop good qualities, to move in positive directions, to make positive changes in ourselves, our families, our communities. with this ripple effect, we can have an incredible influence on other people in a positive way and really change our world. So let's set this motivation that we'll use this time wisely. When we get distracted by this and that, we'll bring our mind back again and again to what's going on. And use this talk to really boost us, empower us, to use this information throughout this week, throughout our lives, to really transform our mind and get closer and closer to becoming the best version of ourselves and helping others to become the best version of themselves.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So, Ming, I want to thank you for inviting me again, having me back on. It's really an honor to be here. So 2 weeks ago, Venerable Chuni talked about equanimity, not just compassion for our friends and our family and those who help us, but also compassion for total strangers, people we've never met, and compassion even for our enemies, people who harm us, people who we dislike. She also talked about compassion in everyday life, not just cultivating it on our meditation cushion, but bringing it into our workplace, into our shopping malls, and every day, 24/7. And then Venerable Children last week talked about what compassion is not. It's not beating ourselves up when we make mistakes. It's not being a doormat and just doing whatever anybody asks us to do. There's a lot of things that compassion isn't, and there's a lot of misconceptions of what compassion is and isn't. So it's really helpful that Venerable Children could help us really nail that down. She gave us the definition of compassion, that it is the desire for beings to not suffer at all. And she also was talking about avoiding the opposite of compassion, wanting to harm people, holding grudges, and wanting to get revenge on people, wanting to inflict harm on them. So we can watch our minds closely, recognize when these negative mental states come up. It could be in a gross manifestation or a very subtle manifestation. We're watching our minds very closely and seeing when this does happen and catching it before we actually act on it, and hopefully transforming it into something very positive and moving in a direction that's more in line with our values. So today I want to talk about self-compassion, but I was curious about the other talks and if people, took them to heart and have been using them in their everyday lives. So I was hoping in the second half when we have the Q&A, we could talk about, how you've been integrating these practices from Venerable Chodron and Venerable Chuni into your everyday life. If you have any experiences or reflections you'd like to share, I'd really like to hear them. So traditionally, self-compassion isn't part of the four immeasurables. I was told that it wasn't taught by the Buddha, but especially in this modern society, in our Western culture, it seems like there's a lack of self-compassion. And even more than that, there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of self-hate in our culture. And maybe that's growing more and more. So this is a really big problem. If we're hating ourselves and we're having a negative influence on other people, then that's that negative ripple effect that has a harmful effect on our communities and the world. So this is really something that we could tune into more and recognize when it comes up and switch it around and move in a more positive direction. There's that famous story of when His Holiness the Dalai Lama came to the US and he was giving a talk, and there was this long pause where him and the translator were going back and forth, and he was trying to understand about self-hate, and he didn't understand why would people hate themselves. And so I guess it wasn't really a part of Tibetan culture, but it seems like a very deeply ingrained part of Western culture. And I know that from experience because I've seen it in other people, and we talk openly about it at the Abbey. And I've also seen it in myself now that I've been watching my mind more carefully. And we do these 3-month silent retreats at the Abbey every winter. And you really get to see your mind very closely. Whether you like it or not, it is in your face and you have to deal with it day after day after day. There's still ways to distract yourself, of course, but in a 3-month silent retreat, there's not a whole lot of places you can run. So doing this year after year and really looking at my mind closer and trying to be more mindful of what's going on, I've noticed that I thought I didn't have any shame and self-hate, but I can see some pattern in the background, some negative self-talk that I didn't even notice before. Because I could turn on my TV or the computer or my cell phone and just distract myself from any bad feelings, so I didn't have to deal with them. But now I can see them closer since I'm having a more focused mind and being more mindful of what's going on in my mind. So that's been really helpful instead of just pushing it away or distracting myself. Or I used to drink a lot when I was a layperson. So now I can actually deal with this negative self-talk and I can change it in a more positive direction. I can give myself some encouragement because I know that shame and self-hate really isn't going to help me at all. It's not going to help the Abbey or my community. So that's something I'm really trying to work on. So I want to use In Praise of Great Compassion, Volume 5, in the Library of Wisdom and Compassion by His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Venerable Thubten. This book is really amazing. The entire series is really incredible. I highly recommend it. But this one especially, talking about great compassion and how to develop it and how to really transform our mind and our communities and really make a powerful difference. So I'm on page 291, and they write, nowadays, many people feel that they have to decide between benefiting themselves and benefiting others because doing both is either impossible or impractical. They see this as black and white choice because there is only a finite amount of various material resources and a limited amount of time. They must choose whom to benefit, self or others. Then, pushed by the self-centered attitude, they choose to benefit themselves. So it seems like a zero-sum game, right? Where you're either benefiting yourself or you're benefiting others. And those are the only two choices, right? And so I need to get the food and the candy and all the good things, the houses and cars for myself. And I need to prevent other people from getting those things because there won't be enough for me, right? And it seems like this mental state would be good for us. The self-centered thought is really tricky. Sometimes we call it the ego, but in Buddhism, we really focus on the self-centered thought, which is really running the show 99% of the time when we start looking at our mind very carefully. And the self-centered thought tells us it's going to take care of us. It's going to give us what we want, what we need. It has compassion for us. So it tricks us because we think that taking care of ourselves and getting all the things for ourselves is going to make us happy. But actually, that makes us really miserable, doesn't it? This mind of chasing and chasing and grasping after more and more and more, trying to get things for ourselves and then really feeling afraid of losing the things we have and trying to hold on to all these things and grasp after them. You know, we were talking before the show, when you have a computer, then you have computer suffering. When you have a car, then you have car suffering. So the more things you have, the more suffering you have because you have to take care of them and worry about them getting broken and scratched and dented. And I know in my own personal experience, this has caused me a lot of suffering. Chasing after all the things I want and going here and there. And I was always going on vacations when I was a layperson and chasing after this and that. And after a while, I realized that it was not bringing me the happiness that I thought it was going to. I was totally tricked. So this has been my experience where I thought I was gonna be happy. I was chasing after all these things, and it might have brought some temporary pleasure, but not any lasting happiness. That's my experience. That's been your experience, Ming? The same?
Yes, same. Yeah, the only true
Okay.
happiness is the happiness from the inside, and some percentage of time is expressed as compassion.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
So the self-compassion of not wanting ourselves to suffer, we need to use it in a wise way, not wanting ourselves to suffer by doing things that actually decrease our suffering and not actually increase them. So it can be really tricky with the self-centered thought running the show. So, like he says, there's a finite amount of various material resources and a limited amount of time. So, this seems like he's pointing to this poverty mind, which thinks that we never have enough. It thinks that we need more and more. And it's not recognizing that we do actually have a lot. We have the things we need, probably. And, someone could be really rich, but with this poverty mindset of thinking that they don't have enough, they always need more. Even if they're rich, then it's never enough. They feel poor because they feel like they need more and more and more. And there's this greed and this desire and craving for more. Whereas someone could be poor and, really appreciate what they have and feel a sense of contentment, and that brings a lot of richness and joy to them because they don't need to go running after and craving after more and more. So this is a mental state of just being content with what we have. If we have enough food, we have the basic necessities. And the thing about love is that you can't really run out, can you? I find that the more love I give, the more it just increases more and more and more. So this mindset of thinking that if I give love, then I won't have any for myself, actually it kind of backfires, right? It makes us miserable if we're kind of greedy with our love and just hold on to it, and our compassion also, just having compassion and love for ourselves, then actually it's going the opposite way where we want to go. It's going to make us really miserable just thinking about me, mine, right? It's a very narrow way of thinking through this tiny little peephole. When in actuality, we can broaden our mind and really think about all sentient beings. And it fills me personally with a lot more compassion and love when I can spread it out and share it with other people. It kind of just keeps growing and growing. So I feel like instead of running out of love and compassion, it just grows exponentially, which is a really beautiful feeling. So this mental state of contentment and also gratitude, appreciation for what we have. These are really secret keys to our well-being and the well-being of our society, our community, our families and friends. And we can really focus on this by noticing the things that we do appreciate. And when that mind of complaining and thinking that we don't have enough and we need more and we don't have the right things, we can notice when that mind pops up and sort of catch it and twist it around, and instead focus on the things that we do have that are really beautiful. We have friends and family that love us. We have the necessities we need. We can develop this contentment and it can grow more and more by just shifting our perspective, noticing when it's going into a negative place, catching it, and then shifting it into a more positive place. Contentment, appreciation, gratitude. And you can even set up times throughout the day to do this, whether it's in the morning, you could do it for 5 minutes and just appreciate all the things you have, or before you go to bed, notice and appreciate all the things that you have. And when you put your head down on your pillow, you have a real sense of contentment and happiness and joy, and you'll sleep a lot better. So it's a win-win situation. So His Holiness and Venerable continue, holding the view that benefiting self and benefiting others are mutually exclusive is restrictive. Seen from a broader perspective, Intelligently benefiting others also aids us. When we help others, we immediately witness others experiencing the good results of our actions. Our actions cause the environment in which we live to be more pleasant. So when we have self-compassion, we don't want ourselves to suffer. We don't want to have any painful feelings. So we want to create a nice, pleasant environment around us. And we want to support the people who are around us. Do we want to live in a community and a world and a society where people are miserable? Probably not. That doesn't sound like it's going to support our well-being and happiness. So when we support other people, when we vote for bills that are supporting our community and giving people the necessary food they need and the housing, all the requisites that they need to survive, then other people around us are happier, and that creates a more content society. So when people are miserable and don't have the things they need, and they're desperate and maybe they're stealing from people and robbing, so we feel scared if this is happening, and we can just avoid that by making sure that these people have what they need, and we can live in a more harmonious society, which is benefiting us personally. So this is the wise self-interest. We can benefit ourselves by benefiting others. So it's a win-win situation. They continue. Similarly, sorry, wisely benefiting ourselves aids others. Maintaining good health and keeping ourselves well balanced physically and mentally creates a better atmosphere for all those we encounter. It also gives us more energy to share with others and enables us to practice the Dharma more consistently for the benefit of all. So when we exercise, when we stay healthy, we can do it with the mindset of, I just want to have big muscles and look good, and people will love me and appreciate me. Or we can do it in a way of, I want to stay healthy so that I can continue to support my community and my family and friends. I want to go on this jog and, lift these weights so that I can live a long time, so I can continue to share the Dharma, have a positive influence on people. I can transform my mind and cultivate more love, compassion, joy, and equanimity, which will carry over into my next lives. And I can continue on this path, continuing to have fortunate rebirths and continuing to support the people I love and all sentient beings in all the directions. So some people might feel guilty if they go on a retreat or do some meditation. They might think, I feel really selfish for doing this. Now I should be at home cleaning or taking care of my family. But actually, when you're going on these retreats, when you're transforming your mind and reading books and reading the Dharma and watching Dharma talks, it's really an incredible gift you're giving to your community, the world, society, your family and friends, everyone, because you are transforming your mind, you're cultivating good qualities, and it has that ripple effect that really influences people in a positive way. So we should really praise people who are doing this and really respect that part of us that wants to benefit others and transform our minds in positive ways. So maybe that's good for now.
Thank you,
If people are
Venerable.
tired of hearing me, I'll just keep talking and talking. People will fall asleep.
So we've entered the discussion section of our program. For those of you who have any questions for the Venerable, or you just want to share a reflection, not just on today's talk, but what they've been doing the past 3 weeks, please feel free to what's it called use the hand raising function of Zoom, and then I will invite you to unmute yourself.
And
And
Ming, I want to emphasize
mhm,
that in other religions, they discourage questions.
mhm,
Like you're not supposed to ask a bunch of questions and you're just supposed to believe, right? But
right,
in Buddhism, we really emphasize you should ask a lot of questions. You should
yes,
continue to challenge yourself and
yes,
challenge your teachers to increase your wisdom and intelligence. So
Yes.
instead of being like a bad thing and harmful and disrespectful, it's actually a very respectful thing
Yes.
to want to develop these wisdoms and knowledge.
Yes. So, friends, please challenge Venerable Gyatso.
Yeah, I dare you, but not too much. Just a little.
Yes. Okay. Which reminds me, I was giving a talk at an event. So it was me and I identify who he is. He's Howard. He was president of Starbucks. So we're giving a talk to a bunch of people who are like meditators, so not business people. So Howard, he's
Uh,
very nice. I mean, he's very wise. He's very smart and is an amazing human being. And we were sitting in front, and then he just told the audience, "There is nothing." So he encouraged question, and he said, "There's nothing you can say that will offend me." That's what he said. Very admirable.
oh.
Yeah. And then I said, "I want to echo Howard. There is nothing that you can say that will offend him."
That sounds like a challenge.
Yes. So, as we're waiting, I want to make a comment on something you said earlier, Venerable, which is the poverty mind. Because it
Mhm.
reminds me of a saying, which is that some people are so poor, all they have is money.
Oh, that's great. I love
I know,
that.
right? So, with that, we have Helena. Helena, please unmute yourself.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yay.
All right.
Okay.
Nice.
Good evening, Venerable.
Good
Thank you for
evening. Nice
sharing
to meet
the
you.
Dharma with
You're
us.
welcome.
I am very new to Buddhism,
Me
and
too.
I have been I, I've been listening to a lot of books on Audible that were written by venerable children.
Oh,
And
nice.
one of the challenges I have is with self-centered thought. Um, I'm glad that you were able to, address self-centered thought. And
Mhm.
I, I took part in what we had at work called chair meditation, and we were supposed to be expressing gratitude and compassion towards only ourselves. And
Mhm.
I was thinking while I was sitting there, I said, I am supposed to be having compassion for myself and all sentient beings. But I can see how easy it is in our culture to get stuck in this reinforcing self centered thought because it's just so much a part of our culture that it's
Mhm.
almost not it's not common to think that the compassion that I have for myself, I have to have compassion for myself in order to have compassion for others.
Mhm.
And the compassion that I exhibit toward others is going to come back to me. And it's
Mhm.
all one thing. So it's one of the challenges I have of watching my mind and how I'm thinking and even who I'm around and the notion of meditation, I understand is, I don't know that I understand what meditation is, but I know to be careful of who I do it. But I just, I've just been struggling with trying to learn to keep my mind not so focused on me. And I do at least understand that if, if that's something I can come to achieve, it's not
Mhm.
that I won't have pain in my life. It's not that I won't
Mhm.
have troubles, but I think
Mhm.
that I will be at peace. I will feel a deeper sense of peace and I'll be able to work with people in a peaceful way. But
Mhm.
it's such a big challenge.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a lot of hard work.
Definitely, yeah. We've had these wrong conceptions probably our whole life, probably since beginning of this time, carried on from life after life. So it is going to take a really long time to totally deconstruct these and to switch our mind into something that's really 180 degrees from what we've been doing before. And it might be 180 degrees from what society is doing. So your friends might think you're kind of crazy. You want to meditate? Why don't you come to the bar with us, you know? Yeah, but this is good for you. It's really positive. So I'm glad that you recognize that, it's not taking a big bite out of it. but slowly, making progress day by day. And it might not even be linear. I've noticed with myself, there's good days and bad days, but overall, I can check year after year, and there is a lot of positive growth. So I don't compare my progress, from week to week or month to month, but I'll do it year by year or even 5 years. You can see a vast difference. And I think that could be really encouraging. Yeah. Thank you, hon.
If you don't mind me sharing a reflection based on what Helena just said, this
Please.
was an analogy given by the Buddha. It's in the early Buddhist text, but it's not a well-known text, which is surprising. And the Buddha was giving analogy of two acrobats. So even during the time, they have acrobats like entertaining people, and they were doing this show where there's one person holding, they're holding a long stick, one person at the bottom, and then the other person on top of the stick performing, right? And so the Buddha said these two people, the guy on the bottom, he has to take care of himself in order to take care of the person on top, and he has to take care of the person on top in order to take care of himself. And the
Mhm.
person on top does exactly the same thing. Take care of the other person to take care of himself and take care of himself in order to take care of the other person. And the
Yeah.
Buddha said this is how you should practice. You should
Yeah.
all take care of yourself in order to take care of others, and you take care of others in order to take care of yourself. So others and self are not separate. And so I kept this analogy of the acrobat in mind like all the time when I face this dilemma. Yeah, I hope
Nice.
this is
Really
helpful.
acrobat mind.
That's right.
Good, good. Yeah, I really like that. So
Yeah.
it's all reciprocal. It just comes
Yes.
back again and again.
Yes. Also the
That's good.
interdependency, which is why when you take care of one in order to take care of the other.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, and it seems like a balance too. So you can see when you're out of balance
Yes.
and then you can readjust.
No pun intended.
No.
Right?
Puns are not allowed here.
Right. Okay. Lynn, can we have you unmute yourself?
Hi, this is Brad. Actually, I'm Lynn's partner, Venerable Gyatso. Thank you
Mhm.
for this talk, and just really to follow on that, my thought that was well said, and my thought, because I wonder sometimes as far as my compassion and love and my willingness to help others um, comes from some reflection back on myself. I think it was Freud that said no organism is going to do anything that's against its self-interest, that somehow everything we do always reflects back to ourselves. Well, because when I feel compassion and love for others, when I help in some way based on that compassion, and I see the joy and happiness that they have, it fills my heart with joy and happiness, which is, as you say, that kind of reflection back and kind of self-compassion for for me also. And I guess the danger is when you get so much out of that, it becomes all about you and the reflection back on you, and making sure that's kept in balance. But I know in my heart I that I won't approach that imbalance necessarily. If anything, I tend to be too giving and too compassionate towards others, and I've been chastised about that before from folks around me. Um,
Mhm.
the other thing. So not really a question, just a commentary. But the other thing was when Venerable Chodron gave her talk last week, I had asked a question, and I used as an example the conflict going on in Israel right now, because I have compassion for the Israelis, I have compassion for the Palestinians, and how when you see such horrors being perpetrated by one party on another, how can I balance that out? How can I keep my compassion strong? And she, I came away from her answer slightly dissatisfied. She got into some of the complexities and some of the weeds of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And however, I came back around because I've been reading her book, Peaceful Heart, Peaceful Mind, and in
Mhm.
there towards the end, she was talking about compassion, and she was saying how um, we have an equanimity, a compassion for all beings around us. However, if we see one entity, one person inflicting pain and being non-compassionate with another, it is a compassionate thing to do for both parties to step in and try to stop the pain from happening, which it helped me understand the situation more fully to try to stop the pain, I guess. And I just used Israeli and the Palestinian as kind of a general example. And again, she kind of got lost in the weeds, but I can see where I can take steps and do things to help the pain and agony that's going on, and yet still remain compassionate with both sides in an equanimous way. So just another commentary, not really a thought, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brad. I was noting that it seems a lot easier to have compassion for some objects as opposed to others. Like you see a baby puppy with a broken leg, and naturally your compassion just comes up and you want to do something to help it. As opposed to someone harming someone else, it might be a lot harder to have compassion for them and to do something about it. But I think
Yes.
we can start with the puppy. We can grow that compassion within ourselves and then spread it out slowly, week by week, month by month, so it can encompass more and more of society, even the people who
Yeah.
harm, the people who are enemies, the people we don't like.
Yes. Well, and that's I mean, when I see someone in anger and being non-compassionate with another individual, or I mean, my heart does go out in a compassionate way to them, because I know they're not a happy being. I know that they are suffering, and
Yeah.
I would prefer, obviously, the no being suffer, and if I could somehow um, yeah, teach that person, live by example, which I have tried to do with my children and in different areas of my life. But like you
Mhm.
say, it's hard sometimes. I mean, as you know, my ego jumps in the way, and I have those knee-jerk reactions where I want to lash out more, which is just going to cause more suffering, not only that person, but to myself also, because then I won't be a happy being, and I will also be suffering. So, like, better to reach out in compassion and do what we can in that regard, rather than in anger and trying to hurt. And
Mhm.
it increases suffering throughout the circle, the sangha.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think when you're role modeling that behavior of compassion and, peaceful mind and behaving in peaceful ways, then people notice that and they notice you have something really interesting that they probably want. And so, they might move in that direction, curious about, what are you doing? Are you meditating or something?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. So, Venerable, while we're waiting for next question, I have one. So we are talking about self-compassion today, and I want to start with a confession. Father, I have a confession. And my confession is that it was for me, self-compassion was really hard.
Mm,
It was long and hard for me, and there's a very simple, and there was a good reason. It turns out, because I thought about my life and I thought about who caused me the most harm, who caused me the most pain, and then I realized it was me. At every stage, I cause myself my most pain. So I am the biggest enemy in my life. I am the biggest asshole I've ever met in my life, right? So therefore, it took me a long time to work this out. And so
mm.
I want to ask you, Venerable, about your own journey. So was self-compassion, was it hard for you in the beginning? And if it was, how did you navigate it?
Yeah, like you said, we can be our own worst enemy, right? Like we might say things to ourselves that we would never say to other people, but for some reason, maybe we think it's okay to say it to ourselves, or we might not even notice it.
I can
So my
have
journey,
I can say a joke about that. They say people say in order to criticize somebody, you to walk a mile in his shoes. Well, I walk a mile in my own shoes, so I can criticize
yeah,
me.
always.
But yes, continue, Venerable.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind walking in your shoes. That sounds pretty nice. But yeah, my journey is, like I said before, not even noticing that I wasn't being compassionate to myself and maybe hiding it or masking it with the self-centered thought and the ego and a lot of bravado. And
Mm,
so now that I can see my mind more clearly and I've been looking at it and being more mindful of what's going on, I notice more and more negative self-talk. And it might
mm,
sound like sarcasm, it might sound like a joke or, different funny voices I do, but I really think it does have a negative impact on me. And when I'm jealous of other people, when I'm competing with other people, then I think that's a reflection of not having confidence in myself and maybe having some shame at some of the things I've done in the past. And so I'm glad that I have purification. We do a purification practice in the morning and one in the evening.
mm,
And so this really helps me to recognize the ways I've harmed myself and others and how I can make amends for that and make a strong determination to move in the future in a more positive direction. But
mm,
also in the evening, I learned this practice from Venerable Chuni, I believe, of um, of recognizing the good qualities in the people around me, and also
mm,
recognizing the good qualities that I have.
mm,
So I'll
mm,
take some time in the evening before I go to bed, and I'll note the things I did throughout the day that
mm,
were really positive, and I can rejoice in them and make a strong determination to continue them in the next day, maybe do even more and more. So I think
mm,
that's given me, a positive boost. It's
mm,
overridden some of the negative self-talk and moved myself in a more positive direction. And I think that's beneficial for other people.
mm. Thank you. Okay, Nicole, you have a question. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, hi, thank you, Venerable. It's not so much a question on compassion, but it relates to the evening practice. Um, Sometimes I'm so tired and I just fall asleep before I do my evening practice, and then I wake
Mhm.
up. Like today, I woke up at 4:30,
Mhm.
and when I did the Vajrasattva practice, it took me like an hour because I went through it really slowly and I really felt every when I do it at night, I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. And so I wondered if you had thoughts on the benefit of doing it in, is it so important to do it right before you go to sleep? I don't know what you think about that, or if it's okay to wait till the morning when you're fresh.
Yeah, if you can do it in the morning and the evening, that's great. And if it's difficult to do it in the evening because you're really tired after a long day, you could also do kind of a quick version, right? Just like you expand it and do it for an hour in the morning when you have time, you can contract it and make it, quicker in the evening and sort of, still have the purification, but, get some rest also. Does that sound feasible?
Okay. Please unmute yourself again, Nicole.
Yeah. So, sometimes in the evening, my self-centered, self-critical thought also is maybe do you have it's so nice that you you live in the it's Sravasti Abbey where you have a community, you're talking about your friend who is saying, what do you have any advice for those days where you're just grr, and yeah.
Yeah. Are there days where it's hard for you to praise yourself and to recognize your good qualities? Yeah. Yeah, I know those days. They're really hard. Sometimes your mind gets really fixated on negative qualities and ways that you've harmed people and yourself, and that can be really painful. I think if you can recognize the disadvantages of this negative mindset, and the advantages of turning it over into something positive. Maybe that's enough to change your mind. If you can't recognize, 10 good qualities, maybe at least you can recognize one tiny good thing you did in the day. And even if you don't believe it strongly, maybe you can just say it, and then, it can be like a fake it till you make it thing. That always works for me.
Would you mind if I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
Oh, by the way, this voice, that self-critical voice, I'm familiar with the voice because according to that voice, my name is Einstein. Because that voice
Oh.
keeps saying, "Well done, Einstein. Good job, Einstein." So I had this experience hating myself, and then even after I became a solid meditator, there was once when I was in a very difficult phase in my life, and that came back with full force. And the way it came back was this voice that told me that you are completely useless piece of shit. And I
Oh.
just keep telling myself that. And to the degree that I could not even meditate. I mean, I was teaching people. I mean, imagine, yeah, it's how embarrassing it is to be a teacher and not be able to meditate because of that negative self-talk, right? And so my teacher, he was very skillful. He scolded me. That's what they do in Zen. They scold. So my Zen teacher was like, yeah, I mean, he like really scolded me. He was like, "Look, you've done so much good for so many people, but you keep ignoring it. Stop it. Stop it." Right?
Nice.
And then his prescription was the he said uh, think about something good I did for somebody before meditation.
Mm.
Okay, so I did it that night. Yeah, so again it was difficult, but I did the instruction because I respected my teacher. So I thought about giving what the money I gave away, that I did it purely out of altruistic purpose, and then I went to meditate again. Oh, so there was this like, okay, I did good. And then I meditate, and again the voice came back. The voice came back and says, "You are a completely useless piece of shit."
Oh.
But I replied back. I say, "No, I'm only 95% useless." It was very funny. I mean, even I recognized the humor. And then because it was funny, my mind relaxed. And because it relaxed, then I resumed my meditation practice from that day on.
Nice.
So there was a power. That is the power of, just like you say, Venerable, just a little bit of reminder. I did something
Mm.
good. And that
Mhm.
for me was enough to break the cycle.
Nice.
We
Yeah,
have
I
a
think
question. Yes. Yes, Venerable.
like you're saying, like your teacher was harsh to you. Sometimes you need to be really hard on yourself in a good way.
That's right.
So sometimes I'll tell myself, stop, don't
Uh,
do
yes.
that.
Yes. Good job,
And I'll tell
Einstein.
myself, yeah, yeah. Or like, do you want to be miserable? You can
Mhm,
continue down this path and make
mhm,
yourself more and more miserable,
mhm,
or you can change it. So it's
mhm,
my choice. I'll
mhm,
ask myself, do I want to be miserable? Is this
mhm,
how I want to continue throughout my day? Or do I
mhm,
want to change my mind?
mhm, mhm. Thank
So
you.
there's that like compassionate kind of like self-talk we do, and then there's
Yeah,
also kind of like that stern,
that's right.
don't do that. And in different situations, you might need one as opposed to the other.
Yes.
Mm.
So, Venerable, we have a question on chat for somebody who's too shy to ask in person. So I'll just repeat the question.
Thank you.
This person says, "Good day, Venerable. I'd like to ask, how do we practice compassion when everybody seems to be moving forward with life, like getting married, getting promotions, pursuing their goal, but I am at a phase where I'm feeling burned out by a change in work, and I am slowing in pace and with no major milestones coming up. I notice jealousy and ill will arising more often recently, and I'm thankful to practice mudita here and there." So,
Mm.
any comment for this person?
Yeah, it sounds like a really painful mental state that they're in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The first thing that comes to mind is self-acceptance, kind of looking at where you're at and accepting where you're at and not wishing you were somewhere else, kind of future tripping and thinking of other things externally. So we can accept, I'm just a sentient being. I'm doing my best every single day. No one wakes up and says, I'm going to be a real jerk today. I'm going to do my worst today. Everyone wakes up and does their best. And sometimes their best is really great one day, and sometimes their best is, just a little bit. But you do your best day after day after day. And when we're having a good motivation, when we have this sincere desire to benefit others and to be compassionate, I think we can recognize that and we can see the positive changes. Like I said, it's not day by day by day, but we look after a year or so and we can notice those changes, and then we can really rejoice in those changes in positive directions and encourage ourselves and inspire ourselves to continue on this infallible path that's moving in a great place. It also sounds like she's looking externally to a lot of things out there. They're doing this, they're doing that, and that can be really painful. This comparison mind is a suffering mind. There's nothing that's going to benefit from this comparison of the grass is always greener over there. Either we're comparing with others and we're better, and then we feel proud, and that's a painful feeling too, because we're kind of separate, right? We're not integrated with other people. Or we compare with others and we're not as good as them, and then we feel shame and bad that we're not living up to our standards. Or a lot of times we're just competing with other people that we feel equal with, and that kind of comparison also is really painful because we have to keep trying to one up them. And it's really painful if they do something. We can't rejoice in it, but we're feeling a lot of jealousy. So when I notice myself looking externally and watching other people and noticing what they're doing, what they're not doing, then I try to focus back on myself. Am I cultivating good qualities? Am I growing my compassion and love in this moment? There's no reason I don't need to look elsewhere towards what other people are doing, because it just brings me a lot of suffering. So I recognize that, and then I can turn it into something more positive.
Mm. So focus on my own growth and so focus on my own goodness. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
when you focus more and more on your good things, then it's easier to see them growing as opposed to just focusing on negative, harmful things all the time.
Mm. Understood. Thank you, Venerable.
You're welcome.
Friends, I'm afraid that's all we have time for. Venerable, please lead us in a closing dedication and please bless all of us.
All right. So we can imagine this incredible positive potential that we've created. Imagine it as a ball of light at your heart, and imagine it spreading out through the entire universe and sharing this positive potential with all sentient beings. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Friends, please bow to our teacher.
Thank you, Wing.
Thank you, Venerable. Always good to have you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't believe you invited me back.
Yeah, that's right. We love it. We love having you back. You need to
Yeah.
come back again.
Oh no.
Okay. Okay, friends. This recording will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel, the Buddhism-dot-net YouTube channel. So subscribe and share with your friends. Those of you who are watching this on YouTube, please feel free to share your reflection or comments in the comment section. And if you are uh, inspired to practice dana or generosity towards Venerable Gyatso, please donate directly to Sarvasti Abbey, and the link will be in chat. And but I will send the link in chat and in email. So next week we will begin our series on boundless joy, again from the monastics from Sarvasti Abbey. Opening that series will be our new friend Venerable Thubten, who Venerable children met back in 1996. So again, somebody very senior and somebody with a lot of authority. So my friends, don't miss it, and we'll see you next week. And Friends, please feel free to unmute yourself to say goodbye to the Venerable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
Tony.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Good to see you.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Enjoy your week.
Night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hope to
Thank
see
you.
you next week. Goodbye.
All right. Good to see you. Thank you so much.
Oh, Dad and Mom left a message.
Oh, that's so kind.
I know, right?
Oh.
Thank you, Dad and Mom.